Howard declines the CAA. The Black College Football Hall of Fame has been inducted, and the future of North Carolina A&T track and field starts now. Oh yeah, it's Locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked on HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And now, of course, I'm Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor. Thank you for going on this journey with me, making Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, when the mic cuts off, the journey is not over. So follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. And today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. They have you covered this season with more odds, props, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. And I hope you all enjoyed your Sunday, your Juneteenth mixed with a little bit of Father's Day. I hope that you guys had a phenomenal weekend. I thought it was a great pairing those two together. So let's get into it. It's Monday now. Some of you may actually have today off because a lot of places are recognizing Juneteenth on that Monday. So let's celebrate, right? I do. I have the day off. I hope that you do as well. If not, thank you for making this part of your work journey today. And I want to talk about Howard because Howard has officially, and that's the operative word, officially put the CAA rumors and all of that to bed. That saga is now over. And I will admit, when I heard the news this weekend, I was a little bit confused. I had to do a little bit more research because to me, this saga had been done for about a month. See, Howard came out and they already affiliated themselves with the MEAC in the midst of all of the stuff going on. They said, we are loyal to the MEAC. That's all I needed. So I kind of forgot that they didn't officially, or I don't even say I forgot. I didn't think about the fact that they had to officially deny the CAA. So now, like I said, the operative word in here is officially. See, I think the saga had been to bed, but the idea of saying I'm with the MEAC and the idea of saying no to the CAA can be two separate things. Let's look at what they said about a month ago. And this was the Howard president, the president of Howard, not the athletic director, but the president of the school itself. And he said, I quote, Howard University has been a proud member of the MEAC for over 50 years. We're doing everything we can to enhance the national visibility of our program and to be the best in-class institution to ensure our student athletes are prepared to compete at a high level and win championships in their respective sports in the MEAC. Now, I paused there on purpose. In the MEAC. All of that is good. That's what every president is trying to do. We want to make sure that you can compete. We don't make sure that you're playing at a high level in your sport. All of that is great. But those last three words were the most important words that he could have said to all MEAC people, and especially some of us HBCU media that really wanted to talk about whether the MEAC should be desperate for realignment or adding more teams in. And those three words were in the MEAC, doing everything that Howard should be doing, but they don't have to do it in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. They don't have to do it there. But that's why those three words are so important. And when you think about when they happened, it happened fresh off the CAA rumors. This is around the time MEAC commissioner saying, basically, we ain't worried about it. She ain't concerned about that. And some of us are looking like you might want to be concerned. It felt a little bit for show. But maybe she just knew more things than we did, which would make sense because, I mean, she's significantly closer to the situation than I am or you. So that confidence came through because at a time when you couldn't tell a soul, there wasn't some sort of credence to that rumor because the rumor wasn't just, oh, Howard and the CAA are talking. No, it was Howard is preparing to leave for the CAA. Man, with everything that had been happening in the MEAC, from FAMU leaving with Bethune, with North Carolina A&T leaving Savannah State, dropping back down. Since 2018, there's been so much turnover in this conference. So the idea of Howard just being another one of the teams that was leaving was extremely believable. You couldn't tell me it wasn't true. It made sense. And it wasn't so much just the MEAC crumbling. It was also the fact that the CAA seemed like they were just adding any and everybody. Now, I don't follow the CAA the way that I do HBCUs, but it seems as if nobody could refuse an invitation to that conference. So it would make sense that Howard would follow suit, right? It made sense. And if we're being honest, if you're following what I think this was probably a couple of weeks ago, what the CAA was looking for in Hampton and North Carolina A&T, Howard fit. It made sense why they wanted him. But Howard said, no, we're staying here in the MEAC. So I thought that was important, but I can understand why those words, the in the MEAC part, it's hollow. But I think this is the substantial action that people wanted paired with those words. Now there's no questions about if it's hollow, if they meant it, what's going to come next. Howard is officially rejecting the CAA and staying in the MEAC. And this is important because with them staying, what you're getting now is Howard is one of the premier schools in the MEAC, regardless of how you want to spin it. Athletically, last year, they were the best school. We went through this. I can't remember what episode it was, but we went through it and talked about how Howard was the most successful school in the MEAC last year. And there's been so much turnover, like I said, since 2018, COVID, all of that, right? So we're not going too far back. But Howard was very successful last year. They didn't have the best football team, but when you look at all the other sports that they play, they were excelling in that. So we're talking basketball, volleyball, golf, baseball. Like they were really skilled in a lot of sports, track and field. They did exceptionally in a lot of other sports. So with that being said, you have one of the more successful schools that you're holding on to, but then you also have a brand. Like, let's just be real. See, being successful is important because those successful schools are the ones that you push forward. Those are the ones that come to the forefront when you want to say, this is my conference. I'm representing the MEAC. Look at what Howard is doing in women's basketball. Look what Howard is doing in track and field. Look what South Carolina State is doing in football. Those successful teams are the ones that you push towards the forefront. It's logical. That's what you're supposed to do. You put your best foot forward. You're going to put your best teams forward to showcase. That's great. Howard has them covered on that front. But they also have the fact that they are arguably one of the biggest HBCUs as far as brand and visibility and notoriety in all, not just the MEAC, just all of HBCUs. Howard is one of those schools that people think of quickly when thinking about HBCUs. That's important. I'll use it like this. Texas football has been bad for a long time. Let's not get into all the other sports, right? No disrespect to my boy John, but go check him out on Locked On Longhorns. Texas football has been bad for a while, or I don't even want to say bad, but a disappointment for a while. I guarantee you the Big 12 is feeling pain from having to lose Texas football because the brand of Texas football looms so large that that's a cash cow. And I don't not get into the business side. That's not me, but I would bet on it on betonline.net, of course, but I would bet on it and say that Howard likely generated a good amount of revenue for the MEAC. They are bringing a good amount of eyes to the conference. I believe that paired with the fact that they were so successful said, that's not exactly a school that I want to lose. And you're still keeping that Elite Eight. That Elite Eight that Miss Stills was talking about. This gives you a little bit of comfort, a base, a solid base to just not get too rattled. Sometimes when things are going crazy, you just need to settle yourself. And that Elite Eight base is what is going to settle them. I understand you still wanted to add some teams on basketball or all the other sports, but basketball and then especially on football. But that Elite Eight does allow you to stay a little bit calm. You know, sometimes the boat rocking, but you got to settle yourself. And I think having those 8 teams and having the loyalty of those 8 teams is something that keeps the commissioner feeling like, okay, I don't have to act in desperation. And that's what we saw with Chicago State. Them saying, no, we're not going to act in desperation because we understand we still have these 8 teams that at the end of the day will settle our conference. Now, going forward, we're going to be talking about the Black College Football Hall of Fame. 7 people, whether that was athletes, coaches, media members, 7 members, or people who are very important, I should say, to the Black college football just legacy were inducted this weekend. We're going to go through and hit some of their highlights as well as diving deep into Donald Duke and the driver and Nate Newton. But before I do that, I want to tell you about BetOnline because betonline.net is the best place for all of your sports wagering. Listen, I understand that the NFL season is over, even though we're kind of getting back into the swing, really. I understand the NBA season is over, but the NBA draft is around the corner. You can put some money down on that. You can put some money down on your NFL futures. You can put some money down on the MLB, the college baseball World Series. You can put your money down on so many things. You can put your money down on the Stanley Cup. That's going on right now as well. There are so many things that you can wager on, but there's only one place that you should wager on it at. And that is BetOnline because they are so versatile. All of those things are present, including esports. Yes, it's the easy choice. Go with BetOnline because they are the fastest and easiest. What a wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so keep on rolling on today's episode of Locked on HBCU. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Every day, you know that I appreciate it. I truly do, right? I want to talk to you about 7 people, talking players, coaches, members of the media, 7 people who are important and are going to be immortalized and forever associated with Black college football because the 2022 class of the Black College Football Hall of Fame has been inducted. Now, we knew about who the members were going to be back in January. We saw them at the Legacy Bowl. It was a great sight. But then now in June in Atlanta, they have been actually inducted. So they got inducted in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. And I just want to talk about them because they were announced in January. They've been inducted in June, and now there's not any other J months to put it in, but they're going to be celebrated in September at the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Classic is going to be between September 1st, September 4th, with the game being played on the 4th. There's going to be a lot of events in between the week, of course, in that span. But on the 4th, the game actually will be played between Central State and then also Winston-Salem State. So that's who you can look forward to watching on September 4th. Is a Sunday. It's the Sunday before the NFL season starts. So it's just a great moment, right? But that's just getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the induction and everything that comes with it, because overall, this is important because it's immortal. No matter what you have to say about a player, you can take a lot of things away. You can take a lot of things away from somebody, but that Hall of Fame, that's forever. There is no, oh, I felt this way about that player, and I felt that way about that player. I don't care. Hall of Fame. It's that simple. I ain't never seen somebody had that Hall of Fame status taken away from them. And you can't really wipe it away. So you can start forgetting about Pro Bowls, you can forget about all pros, whatever. But that's one thing that you can't ever take away. Oh, he shouldn't have got that all pro over that person, or he shouldn't have got player of the year over that person. You can't take away Hall of Fame, period. Period. So now let's get into the 7 people, because these contributions and the greatness that they have showcased in their respective lanes deserves to be celebrated. So you're looking at Ben Coates, tied in out of Livingstone College. You got Donald Driver out of Alcorn State. John Big Train Moody out of Morris Brown College. You got Roscoe Nance. He's a contributor he's from Tuskegee University. We'll talk about his contributions in a little bit. He's not a player. Then you have Nate Newton, offensive lineman out of FAMU. William Billy Nix, coach out of Morris Brown College and Prairie View. Then you got Sammy White out of Grambling State. Now, I'll be honest, all of those guys, aside from 2, are really, aside from 1, are before my time. I don't know much about them. That's not my time. With all due respect, some of these guys passed away when I was a baby, like a toddler, still wearing diapers, young. So I'm really a young guy. But we will make sure that we hit these guys. But Donald Driver, somebody I know well. I know Donald Driver. Nate Newton really played before my time, right? But the Nate Newton that I know was a radio personality on ESPN 103.3. So in Dallas, I remember hearing Nate Newton just spewing off, hey, this is some inside information. For me, Newton was always the guy who was the former player who could give us the inner workings of how the Cowboys thought. That was always cool to me. and I never got to meet him or anything. And, maybe if he was working, well, they don't even have that station anymore. But if he was still working here, in the DFW area, I could drive, come up from Arlington, come up there and see what's going on. So I would love to meet him one day. But that's who I know. I know Nate Newton, the radio personality. Like, that's crazy to probably some of you who are a little bit older. Y'all know Nate Newton, FAMU Rattler. I don't know FAMU Rattler Nate Newton. I know ESPN 103.3 Nate Newton. What I do know is Green Bay Donald Driver. See, one of the best receivers in Green Bay Packer history. The Black College Football Hall of Fame is by far not the first Hall of Fame that he's been inducted into. I think he's a part of Alcorn's Hall of Fame. And then you also have, he's part of Green Bay's Hall of Fame. He's one of the best wide receivers that Brett Favre has ever played with. Got over 10,000 yards on the season. This is the man I think, for a span of like 4 to 5 years, had 1,000 yards every single year. And that's when he started going. Once in that 2002 season, he had a Pro Bowl. He kicked it in, and he went on a stretch of 1,000-yard season. I remember Donald Driver. Donald Duke in the driver, as Chris Berman used to call him. 2K5, man. Like, that's one of the things that I always had synonymous with him, because I remember that game had where you could have like the halftime show. And it's the call, Donald Duke in the driver, from Chris Berman. That's one of the ones that along with his sound effects, that's the things that I found iconic about him. So I'll always remember Donald Driver for that, right? But then you get into some of these other guys, because some of these other guys, they're before me. But I do want to make sure that we highlight them because they deserve to be showcased as well. So you got Ben Coates, and he went on to have a decorated career, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2 All-Pros, and he was the Super Bowl champion with that legendary 2000 Ravens team, right? So that's Ray Lewis and them. Big Train Moody. Big Train, he had the record for most points. Held that record for 7 years. And while he was at Morris Brown College, he was actually coached by this man right here. And that is, let me see where I got him, right here. So you got William Billy Nix and Morris Brown College, Prairie View. You look at PV, he's the winningest coach in PV history. The winningest coach in PV history. He led them to 5 national Black college football championships. He led them to 6 SWAC titles. And then Morris Brown even had one of those, according to the Pittsburgh Courier. Even they had one of those Black college football championships in 1941. So this is a coach who is legendary and has done it big and won that championship at 2 different colleges. Then I also want to get into Roscoe Nance, who, as I said, is a contributor who graduated from Tuskegee University. But his impact on the game is being the first SWAC reporter in the Clarion Ledger's history. So I'm talking about first Black sports writer. This guy is a groundbreaker, and there's a reason why after his long career, he became known as the Dean of Black college sports writers, because of everything that he done. He is a barrier breaker, right? And then we also have, let's see, we got Ben Coates, Moody, Nance, Billy Nix, and last but not least, you got to have Sammy White out of Grambling State, because he was the rookie of the year in his first year. So he came out of Grambling. I believe he was a 2nd-round pick. And in his first year, he set the league on fire, came out and was the rookie of the year. So don't let them tell you that all HBCU products need to get some ramp up. I know that was about 50 years ago, almost 45, but hey man, don't count them out. Don't think they all need ramp ups. I can attest to that for Darius Leonard and Teron Armstead, amongst some others. So it's not just that it was a long time ago. It's also now as well. When you see these players, yeah, they got talent. They don't need to ramp up, right? So we just want to shout out our 7 Black college football, and that's all players, all coaches, members of the media, does not matter. Want to celebrate these 7 individuals, and when it comes time for September and it's Central versus Winston-Salem, we'll be watching for them then as well. But going forward, we're going to be talking about the future of North Carolina A&T track and field, because Duane Ross is gone and we have a new coach in place. But that's only step 1. We'll get into that and more as we continue with Locked On HBCU. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, the future of North Carolina A&T track and field starts now, and we're starting with step 1. Now, look, Duane Ross is going to Tennessee. We've known that since before outdoors. That's not a shock. Now he's there. He's officially hired. That happened about last week. So the clock became ticking. Aggie alum, I'm sure some of the athletes, and just really people in the HBCU media, period, were having all eyes placed upon North Carolina A&T. Like, okay, it's your move now. Who are you going to get to replace essentially a legend? We just talked about somebody who, or we just talked about 7 people who are college football Hall of Famers. Obviously, Duane Ross won't be there, but his contributions to North Carolina A&T's track and field team and how he raised them up to one of the best in the nation over the course of 10 years are things that are Hall of Fame-esque. That's not his sport. I get it. But what he did right there over a decade is Hall of Fame-esque. You're replacing that guy. Those are Shaq shoes that you're trying to fill right now, right? So it's going to be tough 100%. But the new era starts with getting a coach. And that coach is Alan Johnson stepping into that role. And here's what the director of athletics, Earl Hilton, had to say about the decision to hire Coach Johnson. He said, Allen has paid his dues and has earned an opportunity to head an elite track and field program with a rich history like the one at North Carolina A&T. When looking for the person who can keep A&T track and field moving forward academically and as a top 10 program nationally with aspirations of winning national championships, it became apparent that Coach Johnson was that individual. When alumni, parents, and prospective student athletes meet Coach Johnson, they will be impressed with him as a man of character and integrity, as well as an outstanding track and field coach. He will make the program about the student athletes, and I like that. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot in there. We'll unpack it. We're not going to go line by line like we have before. But some of those thoughts and premises come up in why I feel like this hire is so important. Because, look, Ross is a tough act to follow, but thankfully you have to follow him. See, one thing about following guys that are tough to replace is the pressure of being continuously compared to that coach or that player, whatever, are definitely there. But when we're looking at coaching, yeah, the pressure's there, but then also you got to understand they have a certain foundation that has been built as well. You're coming into a situation that is set up for you to have success immediately and hopefully grow. What you're looking out of for Coach Johnson, what you're looking out for him is don't go down. At least keep steady. At least just float, right? So at least just stay here. If you're on video, you can see it. If you're on audio, I'm just going in a straight line. If not, go up. All you want to make sure is you're not plummeting. That's what we're looking for out of Coach Johnson, is to make sure that you are not plummeting. Don't go that way. Just stay steady, because steady is a top 10 program. See, they have aspirations of winning a national championship. That's difficult. But they're used to being a top 10 program now over the last couple of years. That's another level of pressure. I'll give it to him. See, the pressure of replacing Duane Ross, then also the pressure of sticking around and being a top 10 program nationally. It's a lot. But you're set up right now with ways to do it. One thing that I will like to say is that, or ask, is Aggies, right? Aggies alum, current students. What were you looking for out of a head coach in track and field? See, Coach Johnson has the resume. He graduated from North Carolina A&T, graduated from the University of North Carolina, where he was the national champion in the 55-meter hurdles. He coached at North Carolina State, so he's familiar with the state of North Carolina. That should help with some recruiting. Another thing that should help is he's been there. He's done that. 110 hurdle gold medalist in Atlanta. He's been a 3-time Olympian. He's been there, done that. That experience should be attractive to prospective student athletes. It should be, right? So that's part of what makes him a great coach is, hey, I know I've done this at a very high level, at the level that you are trying to get to. If I haven't done that event, I've been around those who have done that event. So that experience counts for something. But one thing he's going to have to watch out for is, hey, is Duane Ross going to come try to poach some of these players or some of these athletes? The first thing I'm doing right now is I'm going to Randolph Ross. I understand As Allen Johnson, there is no way that I have more pull, more sway. I highly doubt I can persuade Randolph Ross better than his dad can, but I'm not trying to. I likely believe that, this is me now, I believe that Randolph Ross has already made his decision. He's not a puppet. Just because his dad goes to Tennessee and he wants him there doesn't mean that he'll go there. I mean, it makes sense for you to follow your dad, but it's not like snap your fingers and it's done. Randolph Ross could just want to stay in North Carolina A&T. He could. The same way that he chose to stay collegiate when people are saying, well, you can go run professionally. He might not want that change. He already said, I mean, there's other reasons behind that, of course, but it's part of his, like, nothing changes. He might like the constant. He might want to stay in North Carolina A&T. He might have life here and just say, hey, I don't have to be coached by my dad. That's very possible, but you need to go and present him with something. I'm not just throwing in a towel and saying, well, he's going to go with his dad. No, I'm going to come and I'm going to present him hey, this is what I plan for the program. This is why I think you should stay. Quick and easy. Ain't even that much of a back and forth. Because like I said, I already think he has his mind made up, but I can't not pitch the best 400-meter runner in the country. I can't not do that. Then you're going to have Miss Grace. And Miss Grace is a star. That might be the next person because that's the second Olympian on this team. Right? And I believe she made it to 2 finals in outdoors. You have to make sure that you try to pull her in. You have to. As a freshman, her value is extremely high because you should have 3 more years with her. You cannot allow Ross to come poach her. That's somebody else you have to go hard for. And another person is Javante Harding. And there's other people, but I'm only highlighting those 3 because we can't go the whole time, right? Javante Harding is a runner who is 3rd in the 100. Just ran a career best, but unfortunately stepped out of his lane a couple of times on the 200. Who knows what he would have done in that final? See, that's somebody I'm trying to poach because Tennessee got this freshman. His name, I can't remember his name right now, but Tennessee got a freshman that won the SEC in the 100, finished 2nd ahead of Harding in the 100 in outdoors, NCAA. You're telling me that if I bring in Javante Harding, I got the silver medalist and the bronze medalist, and they're both relatively young. That is the duo that could be scary. That's the type of duo that really rack you up some points in that specific event. I'm protecting those 3. Miss Grace, Mr. Harding, and also Mr. Ross. I'm going in to make sure that I don't allow those guys to get stolen, those guys and girls to get stolen. Because if I'm talking about the future of North Carolina A&T, at least for the soon upcoming future, I want to make sure that those 3 athletes are a part of it. The same way I want to make sure that you are a part of Locked On HBCU. And in order to do that, you have to keep making us your first listen of the day every day, like how we tie that in, right? So then for your second listen of the day, make sure that you are checking out the Locked On NBA Draft podcast. The first picks have been made from the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft. And now you need to search Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and get over 50 insiders, the Odyssey Sports expert, and the experts from the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. The 5-episode Ultimate NBA Mock Draft is underway. Make the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft your second listen to the day, second listen of the day, because the draft is coming up on Thursday, I believe. Make sure you tune into that. And make sure that you tune into my Twitter in the meantime, in between time. Follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.